We got ourselves some Week 7 OFL action as the 3-2 LA Rams coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Cleveland Browns, taking on the 4-2 Atlanta Falcons here at the LA Coliseum. Let's go first quarter as Jacoby Brissett and the Rams. Brissett would find Tyler Higbee, and to start the game, immediately a nice gain for the Rams, but there's a little bit more than that, a face mask on Anthony Barr, and that'll give the Rams 15 extra yards along with the play. Now for 41, Falcons have it. Rams will kick a field goal, so it's 3-0 as Carson Wentz connecting down the field for Julio Jones. Not too long later, Devontae Freeman with it. Freeman, whoo! Nice spin move, breaking ankles. I believe that's Tyrann Mathieu's ankles who he broke. And then second and goal, it'd be Nick O'Leary, the tight end, finding the end zone, and the Falcons would take a 7-3 lead. As O'Leary, with some weak dance moves, I'd give them maybe a 3.5 out of 10. Rams have it back as Brissett finds Duke Johnson, who gets absolutely annihilated by the former UCLA Bruin Fabian Moreau. Moreau is the one who recovers it, and the Falcons get the football. Big play right there. So Atlanta kicked a field goal. It's now 10-3. Rams have it. Not too long left to go in the half as Marquise Lee tackled into the end zone, and we are tied up at 10 as Lee, the former USC Trojan, with the score. 4th and 1, 3 seconds left in the half. Jacoby Brissett, you might as well call him Kim Jong-un because he's launching nukes, and it'd be intercepted. Fabian Moreau, the one who makes the play. Big first half for Morrow. He gets an interception, a fumble force, and a fumble recovery. Now in the third quarter, Carson Wentz connecting with Julio once again. Very next play, Wentz rolling out. He would connect with Michael Thomas, who's more wide open than a Burger King drive-thru at 5:30 a.m. Nice play. Then second and goal, Wentz looking to throw it. Wentz trying to dance in the pocket, and he would find Thomas again, this time for 6. And the Falcons would take the lead. Not much of a celebration there. That's even worse than Nick O'Leary's. Rams have it as Jacoby Brissett looking for Marquise Lee. Link brings it to the 43. Solid gain. Next play, Duke Johnson stuffed up like Thanksgiving turkey for a loss of 2. There was an injury on the play. 2nd and 12. Johnson with a nice spin move, and he gains 24 on the screen pass. Big play right there. That would lead to a field goal. Now 17-13. Here in the fourth quarter, Carson Wentz, he would look to throw it. He will find John Ross, who is wide open, bringing it to the 25. Next play, Wentz looking, and he's going to be picked off by Patrick Peterson. You can't spell intercepted without the D. And Peterson would take it home all the way to the house. And the Los Angeles Rams would take the lead, their first lead of the game. Actually, their second lead of the game. Remember, they were up 3-0. As Peterson with a Heisman pose, just like last week when he picked off Lamar Jackson. 3rd down and 2. Big play for Atlanta, and they got called for a false start on the left tackle, Papa Sawyers. Huge break for LA, setting up a 3rd down and 7. Rams need a stop here as Freeman on the run. He is wrapped up at the 6 for a gain of 4. Justin Yoon's kick is good, and we are tied up at 20. We have seen 3 straight games with game-winning field goals, and we might see a 4th as Jamison Crowder brings it to the 27. 2nd down and 8. Here comes on the Rams field goal unit for the win. It's up, and it is right down Main Street. That is the 4th straight game with a go-ahead field goal, and the Los Angeles Rams get the win 23-20. They improve to 4-2. Falcons go down to 4-3. And there you go, folks. The Rams get the win 23-20. They improve to 4-2, while the Falcons go down to 4-3. Both quarterbacks were solid, but neither of them were great. Running the ball, Devontae Freeman, Duke Johnson, neither of them could really do anything. The longest run of the game was 12 yards. Receiving-wise, might see a little bit more. Duke Johnson, 6 catches, 39. Marquise Lee, 5 for 60 and a touchdown. Michael Wilson, 4 for 66. Julio, 4 for 63. John Ross had a few nice plays. Blocking-wise, neither team allowed a sack the entire game. Tackles, I went to A.J. Bouye and Anthony Barr. Obviously, as I said, no sacks. 2 interceptions, 1 for Patrick Peterson, 1 for Fabian Moreau. And Moreau also forced a fumble, which he recovered. Let's see what happened around the rest of the OFL. Defeated no more as the Steelers lose their first game of the year to the Browns who also only have one loss. 35-30 is your score. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good game. Lamar Jackson on the other side absolutely dominated for Cleveland. Running the ball, Darius Geis, Christian McCaffrey, each solid, but nothing too exciting. Receiving, Juju Smith-Schuster with a solid game. Paris Campbell playing pretty well. Martavis Bryant, Christian McCaffrey with touchdowns. Greg Olsen with 2. Evan Engram, Jordan Matthews, Zach Miller also gets scores. In the blocking front, sacks were allowed by Will Hernandez, Jack Conklin, Justin Pugh, and Alejandro Villanueva. 15 sacks for Jatavis Brown, 11 for Josh Jackson. Sacks, 2 for Vic Beasley, 1 for Taven Bryan and Fletcher Cox. Have a sack for Mike Daniels and Devondre Campbell. Interceptions, 1 for Andrew Sendejo. And no fumble forces. The Redskins win their 3rd straight game, improving to 4-2, beating the Packers 24-13. Green Bay goes down to 3-3. As Brian Lewerke, very solid game from the rookie, 90% completion percentage, very nice. Baker Mayfield, however, only 53%, and he's been very efficient this year, so that's a little bit of a surprise. Alvin Kamara, I know I have to change his number to 41. I'll do that. Solid game. Ronald Jones, Myles Gaskin, meh. Saquon Barkley didn't even get a touch. And the receiving front, DK Metcalf was good, so was Gerald Everett. Marquise Brown with a pretty good game. Alvin Kamara with a receiving touchdown. Blocking, sacks were allowed by Kevin Zeitler and Jawan Taylor. Defense, 10 tackles for Marcus Peters, 8 for Clinton Dix. Sacks, 1 for Emmanuel Ogbah and Danny Trevathan. There were no interceptions, and were there any fumble forces? There was one, forced and recovered by Landon Collins. The Ravens go down to 2-5 as they lose 21-12 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Derek Carr with a solid game. Jameis Winston struggled. Jay Ajayi decent. Theo Riddick with a touchdown. Sony Michel could have been worse. In the receiving aspect, Willie Snead was pretty good. DeAndre Hopkins, meh. Touchdowns for Devontae Parker and Theo Riddick. Blocking, sacks were allowed. 2 from Eric McCoy, 1 for Joe Thuney. Braden Shell, Spencer Drango, Ross Pierschbacher, and Yannick Ajuste. 8 tackles for Justin Coleman. Sacks, 2 for Sheldon Rankins, 1.5 for Ndamukong Suh, 1 for Dylan Cole, Gerald McCoy, Pernell McPhee. Have a sack for Nasir Adderley. Interceptions, 1 for Frederick Harrison and Nick Nelson. And no fumbles. The Patriots lose again. They are now 1-5 as they lose to the Chiefs 26-21. Tyree Jackson with an okay game, but Phillip Rivers was better. Running the ball, Lamar Miller solid. Aaron Jones decent. Josh Jacobs, another bad game from him. Receiving wise, good game from Randall Cobb. Nothing for carry-on really. Trey Burton 9 for 95. Jarvis Landry decent. Chris Hogan with a touchdown. 2 touchdowns for Aaron Jones. Blocking, sacks were allowed. 4 for Bo Benchoisel, 1 for Mitch Hyatt and Damian Prince. Defense, 11 tackles for Eddie Jackson. Sacks, 2 from Malik Jackson, 1.5 for Bernardrick McKinney, 1 for Jake Ryan. Benson Mayowa, and then have a sack for Jordan Willis. Interceptions, there was 1 by Leonard Floyd. And fumbles, nada. The Carolina Panthers improved to 2-4 as they beat Tennessee 29-13. Wes Lunt with an overall solid game, 13 for 18. He ended up throwing a touchdown. Josh Rosen, meh. Kareem Hunt, very good, 143 yards and a score. Jamal Williams with a touchdown for Tennessee. And the receiving, Emmanuel Sanders led the way for Tennessee. Not much for Carolina. It looks like the wealth was being spread around. Deion Sims with a touchdown. Philip Dorsett with a touchdown. I thought Westland only threw 1. Am I just blind? Was there like a special teams? Like one of the kickers or something throwing a touchdown? 2 sacks allowed from Brian Bulaga, Trey Turner, 1 for Joe Staley, Kalechi Osemele, and Ron Leary. 10 tackles for Roquan Smith. Sacks, 1.5 for Calais Campbell and Cleveland Ferrell, 1 for Kenny Clark, Sua Cravens, Tyler Davison, Nick Kwiatkowski. Interceptions, 1 for Roquan Smith. And 1 fumble forced and recovered by Drake Kirkpatrick. The New York Giants go down to 2-5 as they lose 24-21 over the now 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Looking at the stats, Will Greer, solid game. Sam Darnold, not too bad. Running the ball, Jerick McKinnon was pretty good. Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, each with scores. Receiving, Tyler Lockett with a good game. Robbie Anderson, also not bad. Devin Funchess was pretty good. Derrick Henry with a receiving touchdown, and also one for Jerick McKinnon. Sacks allowed, 2 for Shaq Mason and Lyle Collins, 1 for Brendan Parker. 11 tackles for Jaquiski Pop-Tart, 8 for Telvin Smith. Sacks, 1 for Trey Lamar, Jarrell Casey, Cam Jordan, John Simon, and Mo Hurst. Interceptions, 1 for Telvin Smith and Brian Poole. And I do see a fumble force from Telvin Smith, and it was recovered by the Giants. The Eagles beat the Bills 35-14 as Kirk Cousins, mad game. Cam Newton also with a mad performance. Running the ball, David Johnson was very good for the Eagles, 177 yards. Carlos Hyde, Mike Gillislee, and Charkandrick West also with touchdowns. In receiving, Eric Decker with 2 scores. Tyreek Hill pretty good. Blocking, sacks were allowed by Ryan Schrader, Laramie Tunsil, Jawan James, and Ali Marpet. Tackle leader for the Eagles is Zach Brown and Steven Nelson with 9. Sacks, 1 for Ziggy Ansah, Sheldon Richardson, and Michael Brockers have sacked for Avery Williamson and DeMarcus Lawrence. Interception for Malcolm Butler, and 2 fumbles, 1 from Zach Brown and Jonathan Joseph. They each forced and recovered 1. The Arizona Cardinals improved to 4-3 as they beat the San Francisco 49ers 28-20. Drew Lock with an okay game. Deshaun Watson, not too bad. Leonard Fournette, very good, 168 yards and a touchdown. Also a touchdown for Damian Williams. A.J. Green, a very good game for Arizona. Receiving touchdown for Hayden Hurst, 2 for D.D. Westbrook. Blocking, sacks, 1 sack allowed the whole game. That was by Billy Price. Leaders in tackles for Arizona is Adrian Amos with 10. A sack for Josh Allen, half a sack for Deron Payne and Adam Butler. There was 1 interception. That was by Eric Weddle. And no fumbles.